America Inkling Open 2019 qualifier finals. Jordan Kent, Ashley Esqueda, Charles 9 Whitehead bringing you action. We're halfway through the bracket. And you look at how well they played the very first round. Team What, that is, by the way, if you're just joining us. That's not a brain fart by one of us right here. They certainly get things done super well.
Who's on first situation? It's like, what team is going? No,
Sure.
what team is going to PAX?
So what is the team name?
Question.
They'll be joined by Low Key Splatoon, headed to PAX East. Don't forget, we have an exciting doubleheader today. We'll bring you the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate North America Open 2019 online event final number 2. We've had 4 representatives after our online event final number 1. We'll find 4 more that'll go to PAX East. But let's get back to Splatoon 2. We have 2 teams coming up here. FTWin and Team Upgrade that will be squaring off here in this best of 7-9. And FTWin is a combination of a couple teams that almost sniffed the World Championships last year. They see how much of a threat What is, so they decided to join forces.
They did. They'll tell you that's not the actual reason, but finding more success is always nice. And actually, Kyo here, the team captain of FTWin, actually did compete with STDX last year, so he is used to this stage. But this is going to be a really fun team to watch. If you were familiar last year, Tomo and Saikai, 2 very aggressive and fun teams that finished 2nd and 3rd at this event last year, respectively. This is a big old mess of those players.
Combined forces.
They are, and they're going to have some fireworks to show today.
As we continue to look at the strategy from a lot of these teams here, Ashley, it's really those teams that are able to time their specials up well, but not rely on them too much. They really have to be solid in their fundamentals and finding advantages there.
Yeah, and I think that speaks to all of Splatoon 2. I mean, you can be at any level of play, and if you have the fundamentals of the game down, you can do just about anything if you work together as a team.
Let's get the party started on tower control. It's Starfish main stage. We mentioned how important the middle of this map certainly is, but 9, you're a loadout expert here. What are you seeing?
Well, we didn't talk a lot about team upgrades, so we'll talk about that. This will be the team that will not run a backliner. The longest range weapon they have, you see, is that dynamo roller of Squirt. The way they play is they go up and they make plays happen. They work together. This has been their MO since they were founded, since they worked together. We'll see, though, this might be a fire meets fire type of matchup.
And it's great. We talk about the meta that exists, and sure, there's a reason it does, but we've already seen a couple teams sort of buck that trend. You've got team upgrade, as you said, with no backliner. We saw low-key Splatoon with some interesting weapons, so this will be great to see how these 2 teams balance out over these different game modes. Action right now, 4-3 advantage on the field for FTWin. They've got the tower early on, trying to push it, and we haven't really seen a team battle back yet in this map. When you look at tower control 9, why do you think that is?
Well, you can see once it gets into that pit, there is so much room for the offensive team here, whoever is making that push, to just set themselves up and watch as you drop right into their laps. And that's why you're starting to see a little bit of defense now, because it's still open. But once it gets to and past that second checkpoint, it's almost always a knockout.
Team upgrade, moving the tower back. It resets back to neutral. 4-4 on the field. Couple of specials for each team as well. So early on, evenly matched. Not the quick little knockout we saw with What and Low-Key Splatoon early on. Here comes that Booyah Bomb, though, here, Ashley.
Oh, man, I love the Booyah Bomb so much. Oh, Squirt, no. Come back. now FTWin's going to have the tower.
4-3 FTWin. They're on the tower, still trying to get to that first checkpoint, but there comes that Stingray cleaning things up. 3 inks down to the field right now for FTWin. 3-4 advantage now, FTWin. And a Stingray ready to go on the tower here, but it goes back to what you talked about here, 9, having your backliner move forward with the party.
You have to, and that's the weapon that you're going to see it from. We called earlier that custom jet sculpture is the most mobile backliner in the game, and it's because it can move up. It's one of Ice's best weapons there. Nerf Enzap doing some great work there. That's an important pick. Kyo is the midliner, and as we said, the captain, the playmaker of this team. That's going to stop that push, and 56, that's not bad for how dangerous it looked.
Not bad at all. So 100 to 56. Team upgrade finally getting on the board here. They've got a Stingray ready to go as well, too. Let's see if Vlad can get a couple of splats here. But the tower being reclaimed once again and sent back. And so early on, Ashley, finally some back and forth that we're used to seeing in tower control.
Finally a little back and forth, and I think that is absolutely due to Team Upgrade's willingness to get in there, get into the fray. Not running a backline, I think, for them is actually coming in very handy when it comes to taking the tower back once it starts moving towards their base.
It is, but on the other side of things, sometimes you need a backliner in order to make the pushes. You see here when they're trying to start that push, they don't have any ranged threat that can pick off people from a safe distance. They have to go up and try to make the plays, and that's very difficult against a team that's as mechanically skilled as FTWin.
Squirt moving forward with that Dynamo Roller. Booyah bomb ready to go. Torpedo tries to snuff it out, though. Has to duck down and cover. You love the use of the torpedo right there to disrupt that Booyah bomb.
The torpedo is one of my favorite subs. It is newer to the game, and so it has been very fun to watch how teams sort of utilize it in combat at every level.
Team Upgrade starting to make a serious push at this point, trying to get through the checkpoint, getting a couple more Inklings on the tower to keep that clock moving. They do. Looks like they'll have no issue getting past the first checkpoint. Now they just got to try to take the lead here. Oh, 2 points away and 9. They just needed to hang on to it a little bit longer. Now they're down 4-2.
They did, and Squirt jumping in there onto the tower. You saw Lag rotate off because they had somebody jumped in. I don't know if they called out the suction bomb, if there was just a little bit of missed timing, but that was their opportunity. They had them separated. They had their frontliners pushed up, and it just didn't go well for them there. That's heartbreaking.
And baller on baller crime right there. Advantage, FTWin still with the lead in this one, and they're going to extend that lead now as they get to the second checkpoint. Booyah bomb creating a bit of a shield as well too. A couple of Inklings on the tower. They dip off, move around. Brella providing some cover as the tower getting reset. But at this point, if you're FTWin, you can start focusing on defense with just 30 seconds left.
And they've already broken that second checkpoint. It said we've cleared it. So if they take that tower back, it's almost smooth sailing.
9, what's the strategy here for FTWin if you want to close this thing out and get this dub?
Well, what Shaq did right there was great, and that is Shaq, not Shark, but we are going to call that technique sharking. When you sit by the tower or any objective and you just wait for the opponent to look ahead, you can take that easy. That was a very simple pick for Shaq to get, and that's going to force, again, this overtime. There will be no more do-overs here. Lag needs to get this Stingray if they're going to have any chance to make this push.
No, you're filling the form out in ballpoint pen here. You can't make a mistake. 4-4 on the field, and a couple of Team Upgrade members get eliminated, and that'll do it. The 4-0 wipe gets the victory for FTWin, and Team Upgrade had that chance to take the lead, but it seems like it wouldn't have mattered because FTWin came back and pushed their lead later on. But it was really the first back-and-forth tower control we've seen so far in this final today.
Yeah, and we said earlier that it really is that second checkpoint. If you get past that, that is when the game really opens up, and you can kind of just kiss the game goodbye at that point. Knockouts, very common there, but if you can
set
stop
the
them
tower
early,
to cruise control.
Right, that's basically what it is. So if you can slow that down and stall it just a little bit, you'll see a more back and forth game there. But I'm encouraged. Team Upgrade had the chance to take the lead there. This might be a pretty good set.
And Team Upgrade, as you mentioned, no backliner. And Ashley, both these teams very aggressive, and we sort of saw that with just the way that nobody really had a clear-cut advantage and couldn't really push the tower for a really long amount of time. It was kind of chunk here, chunk there, I'll take it back for you, I'll push it at that point.
Yeah, and also, I mean, these two teams sort of use the Stingray as their backline. They relied on the special to be their backline on both sides. So it's really interesting to see how they work together, but at the very end, when you're in overtime and you don't have time to get off the tower, get back on the tower, try to strategize somehow, and that other team has a Stingray, it is very, very difficult to get that tower where you need it to go.
We'll be getting set for Splat Zones on Humpback Pump Track here. And 9, how critical is it to be the first team to secure the Splat Zone when you look at this game mode and match? Is that something that teams are really focused on, or do they feel, all right, we just have to make sure we find the timing of when we get in the Splat Zone?
I think the real turning point in any Splat Zone match is the clean take, is what we like to call it. When you are able to take the zone and take out all 4 of the opponents, all 4 opponents, send them back, and only go down maybe 1 or 2 yourself, that's what you really want. If you take the zone first, but it costs you 3 specials and half of your team members to do it, that's not what you want. It's going to
get taken right back.
Right, and you want to go in what we call the lockout phase, when the opponent is forced to sit back and build their specials. You have your specials as well. That's what these teams are going to be looking forward to. So that first push, that first take may not be the one we want. The first clean take is what they're going to do.
Many sloshers.
What we also saw from What was their ability to sort of corner the opposition in the corner of this map. Let's see if those Stingrays will be used for that potentially. But right now, nobody has control. Early control for FTWin. Then they lose it right ahead, and it seems like this will be sort of the theme for most of these game modes. two well evenly matched up squads here.
Well, you see already that there's two Exploshers, and again, we talked about how strong Explosher here is. It's really going to be those that have to do the painting here, but look at Kyo's decision and ability to move all the way back around and get a flank. That is not easy to do on this map. Kyo got a pseudo triple there to open that one up.
3-2 on the field for Team Upgrade. However, FTWin has the splat zone. They're going to lose control of that, and Team Upgrade looking to claim it. They do, and they tack on a meaty 30-second penalty to FTWin. So they're trying to battle back in this one. And this is this lockout phase you start to talk about. Secure the zone and then push your team forward, Nine.
Right, and we saw earlier that the specials that came in back in our previous set, you were able to see Ink Sigma in that case kind of fight through the specials without specials of their own. We saw here that was not the case, and we actually saw that Booyah Bomb from Squirt go out pretty early in that situation. That left them underhanded when it was time to play defense.
Also, keep an eye on the number by the icon at the top that tells you how close a particular Inkling is to getting their special, and so you see on the right-hand side, Team Upgrade, a couple of players close to their special at this point here. They've got the zone. They're going to go ahead and eliminate their penalty, but it seems like actually players are doing a relatively good job of staying alive on such close quarters, and that's why we're seeing in such an exchange of the zone control.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about this map in particular is it's so open. There are so many ways to get to that splat zone that it makes it a little easier to stay alive as you get closer to that splat zone.
Nine, a couple of big moves by Team Upgrade here.
It was. The decision to have two people immediately go left and identify that that was where the stragglers from FTWin were, I think made it a much easier defense than it would have been normally. And you know, they are very close to losing the zone right now. They do indeed. But getting a lead, and a fairly substantial lead, and taking it back almost instantly shows they are here to fight.
But FTWin was able to claim the zone ever so briefly, so they put on a 45-second penalty to Team Upgrade. So if you're FTWin, you're not too far removed. You just have to secure the zone at this point. They've got 2-2 on the field, so right now that counter continues to tick down. Flash down, ready to go, and the double splat right there, so critical for that lockout phase.
It is, and Kyo, we called Kyo the playmaker earlier, had a triple to open this game, gets a double right there that is going to get them the lead and allow them to execute that full knockout phase. Not even a special needed, holding on to it, why not?
FTWin reclaims the lead. They're trying to go up 2-0 over Team Upgrade at this point. However, Team Upgrade battling back for that zone, trying to even out things 1-1. You got 2 minutes left, plenty of time. However, FTWin continues their dominance. They get the control of the zone. They're up 4-1. Can it be a clean wipe to go ahead and get the KO? It is, and FTWin can just go ahead, pull out the lawn chairs and relax because they take a 2-0 lead. And it goes back to that ability, Ashley, to just wipe out the other team. It's the fundamental aspect of this competition is to eliminate the other team with your ink.
Sure. I mean, that's the name of the game. But in splat zones, it also is really key when you're in control of that splat zone. Every elimination is time that opponent has to wait to respawn and then spend more time getting to the splat zone, reorganizing as a team. It's just, it takes time. And so when you can count down that clock, it's a good thing for you.
And Kyo really putting in some fantastic work there, as you mentioned, the pseudo 3 splats. But what else were you seeing from him that allowed him to really help elevate FTWin to make that comeback?
Well, like we said, the composure. There were a number of situations where Kyo was staring a special in the face, understanding, okay, there's a baller there. The baller can only hit this far. If I stand behind a wall, the baller's fine. Let's let that baller explode first. Let's keep our distance. I understand where my team is. I understand where the opponent is looking. Some of those splats were very easy. The opponent wasn't even looking at Kyo as he was able to get those splats. And again, that's just composure.
Critical mistake. Always keep your eyes on Kyo.
I guess so. I mean, there's 3 other players that make it scary.
Always watch for him.
But, you know, star power is a thing in this game. Kyo has been on this stage, has more time in the game than anyone else I've ever met, and you're starting to see the dividends being paid.
Well, you mentioned composure because a lot of times when you've got all 8 players on the field, there's a lot going on, and it's easy to get distracted, but Kyo is able to just understand the scenario and not get caught up in everything that's going on and to really have that laser tunnel vision.
Laser tunnel vision and understanding the truth of what is currently going on. Understand, all right, there's a baller in zone. It's going to explode. We have a baller as well. We'll paint a little bit there. We won't lose the zone. We'll identify where the opponent is coming from, and let's communicate. One of the things that these teams do better than any other team is communicate. There's a lot going on. They have to be able to communicate all of that at all times, and it's really remarkable that they're able to do it.
We're getting set for Clam Blitz here shortly, and you go back to the strategies for Clam Blitz. And teams have to be careful, Ashley, about how many clams they're carrying when they're on defense. Why is that?
Well, when you're on defense in Clam Blitz, when you're in, and especially if you're behind, it's, you know, we're in Vegas. There's a lot of gambling here. So I'll do a little gambling analogy. So it's a gamble, right? Because you're trying really hard to take the lead back, but that also means you're carrying a lot of clams. And so if you get splatted, your opponents are going to get those clams. And now that gamble has not paid off, and you are in a very dangerous situation, especially if you lose them closer to your base than your opponent's base.
We see a lot of baller in Clam Blitz as well, too, and teams really making sure that they're on the same page as far as when they follow that baller and when they deploy it as well, too, Nine.
And both sides are using the Kensa Splat dualies. That's really kind of the main weapon that we've seen every team bring, Shaq on one side and Nerf NZAP on the other. That's going to be where the ballers are coming from. What I am curious to see is how the backliners will move up and affect this map. We saw earlier a team willing to bring double Splatling because they put that much of a premium on spatial control. And we actually see another weapon that we haven't seen so far in this tournament, another Kensa, the Kensa Splattershot Jr. That is the fastest bubble builder in the entire game.
Got to build those bubbles early on, fighting for turf control at this point here. New Albacore Hotel. We mentioned it's very difficult to just quickly get to the opponent's side there. You have to watch out for those grades. There's a little bit of undulation. But right now, teams are just trying to fill their pocketbooks with some clams. And keep an eye on those specials. Right now, Team Upgrade. They were close to a couple of them until that Brella got Doolies got splatted right there. But baller early on right now, and this is when you start to think about making that initial push here, Nine.
It is, and I like the fact that they're being a little patient, understanding. There we go, shifting back to the backliner there, that nice little pass, understanding, all right, you're not going to be the one pushing in. We'll leave you back there where you're supposed to be anyway, and we'll find an opportunity. But this is some great defense coming out from Team Upgrade. And one thing I want to point out, Cotton, their ace blaster, has now switched over to that HD nozzle nose deco. It's a mouthful, but it also produces a lot of ink armor, and ink armor, I think, might be the turning point for them here.
And that's a huge aspect in this one, that ink armor when you're facing so many ballers and special moves, to give yourself just that one hit of defense, especially when you're near the base and you're trying to fill clams into the basket. So critical there. However, nobody threatening a base quite yet. It's just that fight for control here. But Ashley, you have to be patient and wait for those situations when you have the numbers advantage.
You cannot overstep when you are, especially when you're carrying clams. I mean, you've really got to be careful, and you have to choose as a team that specific time to push, because if you get a little too eager, if you get a little too aggressive, that could result in 2-3 members of your team going.
We've got a couple of power clams on the stage. You see the super jump, and that'll be FTWin. Getting their basket open first. Baller opening things up as well, too. You see Shaq trying to get the bubbles out as well, too, to protect. Shaq up top with those dualies. And that's going to just be 23 points right there, Nine. You figured they would have scored a little bit more.
It was, and I loved the decision for Shaq to jump in and then use the baller there. You know that the opponent sees the jump in. They may expect a power clam jumping in. That's not it. But on the other side, that is why it is so important for you to get under that 60-point marker. There is no follow-up, but they don't need it. They have the lead right now. And a great job the Team Upgrade by keeping 2 of their clams alive into all of that.
And you saw Squirt squirted in there with the super jump and was able to get that power clam in just before getting splatted. That gives them a 17-point advantage. That critical 60-point mark is 9, you pointed out. But now you've got a pair of power clams, 3 power clams on the side of FTWin, and that can be confusing if you're on defense, Ashley, because you don't know where the primary threat's coming from.
Yeah, you have no idea, and it also puts FTWin at a really big advantage, because if one goes down, that's okay. You got 2 left. That's still 20 clams.
Oh, no. Everyone's going to be jumping in now.
And everybody's joining the party. They're filling up the football bag at this point with those power clams. You've got Team Upgrade on their heels. Kyo with the ink brush almost grabs the fumble and back to the base, but no luck there. They've got a 30-60 lead, though. And talk about the 2 clam mark here. Well, at this point here, 30 points is going to be a sizable lead with just 1:30 left. Team Upgrade really going to have to come up with a coordinated attack. Squirt trying to fling some ink right now with that Dynamo roller. You've got Nerf and Zap rolling around, gets splatted. 4-3 advantage for FTWin, and you figure 9, this is where you transition to more of a defensive posture.
It is, and I think you have to. You see them moved in there again, just getting the splats and trading and making sure that the opponent can't get any sort of clam economy, any sort of money in the bank, as you've been going with that analogy here. This is really where you start to see the lack of a backliner come back and hurt them, because again, they are having such a difficult time getting out because they don't have any weapon that can safely pressure somebody away. They have to go up and make the plays. And you look at Nerf Enzap, he's the only front line. They are running essentially a 3 mid-line comp with the way that Lag is playing that Explosher.
When you talk about that midline and backline, it makes it very difficult for Team Upgrade to safely approach Feed to Win because they've got weapons that can reach at different levels, and you're just sitting back on defense, picking them off one by one, Ashley.
Look at all of this green ink on this map. I mean, they are doing an incredible job of keeping Team Upgrade out of even the center of the map, much less close to their base. So they are really doing a good job of not only dealing with the clam economy, as it were, but also the economy of the ground game.
Team Upgrade. They've got all 4 squids on the map at this point, trying to rack up some specials, but that 20-point penalty will be huge here, 9, because now you have to score 51 points just to reclaim the lead.
And that's going to take a full clam just to get through, and they've been... Look at this. And you know, you talked about the economy earlier. All of this pressure has also forced them to prematurely burn their specials as well. A jump is going to come in. They had people coming from the left side, the flank there. That is what aggression gets you. We didn't talk about Kyo. Kyo switching all the way over to an ink brush to open up those open up some of those scores as well, and really open up that game. Take a look at the splats and assists total right here, and you can see it's Shaq that's opening it up for them, and Kyo there at the bottom, only 4. That's all you need. You're an objective player.
But 6 uses of that baller as well, too. And oftentimes the baller and those special moves, Ashley, it's not about getting the splat, but it's gaining control of a particular territory on the map.
Yeah, it's especially with the baller, it's getting into your opponent's goal and being able to get the baller exploded so that you have some space, some room to work with. And then you got everybody close by, ready to jump in at a moment's notice. But there's some strategy there. You have to know when to hold them, when to fold them, when to jump in, when to be like, you know what, maybe this is not a good time. Maybe we just hold back for a second, regroup, and then get back in there. But the baller, I think, how many times he uses a real testament to that's a playmaker. It's the Gretzky of Splatoon. He's getting those assists in. He doesn't have to score every single time. It's about the assist. And it doesn't matter because your team still wins. It doesn't matter how many clams you throw in there. It matters how many clams everybody gets in.
Feed to Win takes a 3-0 advantage as we get set for Rainmaker on Piranha Pit, but Team Upgrade, it seems like 9 is struggling to find that composition that can really battle back to Feed to Win. Sometimes we talk about zigging when other people zag, but there's also a reason why you do need to stay in your lane and stick to a loadout that's going to give you at least a fighting chance to mount a comeback.
It is, and it's such a difficult position to be in because you can't just change for the sake of changing. If you have something you're comfortable with, you have to roll with that. You have to go with what you're best with, and that's why it is so difficult. And it's really a testament to how good Team Upgrade is at what they do that they made it this far. But I agree, it's a rough-looking matchup right now. You're seeing they're trying to throw out their specials early to open something up for them. Sometimes you do that to open things up and then you move in, but I'm not sure what the answer is right now.
And you got to watch out for the dreaded tilt. You can't get tilted.
Oh, the mental aspect of a game.
Aspect of the game. Like,
mental.
Don't let yourself tilt.
You
like
can't.
You can't do it. And so this is what separates those really high tier players, is that they're able to get past that and say, okay, we got to start fresh. This is a new one. This is Rainmaker. We haven't played this mode yet. Like, let's get in there and let's just reset.
Feed to Win up 3-0. If they can win this Rainmaker match, they will be joining What and Low-Key Splatoon at PAX East. Then we're waiting for just one more spot to be finished. And so you figure Rainmaker, Feed to Win, their aggression, this should be a game mode that's right up their alley here.
It should. But I will say one thing. If there's anything nice about Team Upgrade's composition with regards to Rainmaker, because it is so aggressive and you can push up, sometimes it means you can play defense. I'm worried that they're going to get a little overzealous trying to take out the Rainmaker, though, and I hope that's not the case because we've seen how quickly the tides can turn here at Piranha Pit, and it does look like we're seeing more long-range weapons coming out of FTWin. I think that's exactly what they're anticipating.
And Team Upgrade, Cotton coming out with that blaster as well too. Blaster's not played as much as they typically used to be here, 9, but it's a situation where if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it.
No, and Cotton's one of the finest true blaster mains that we have left in the scene. And that Inkjet, this is a map where it can make some damage happen here too. But FTWin, I think, is one step ahead. Both of the weapons that they switched to outrange this weapon.
And that range is so important, especially on this long linear level. Already a couple of Stingrays being deployed to clear the way. Nobody's grabbed the Rainmaker yet, but Ashley, you also just don't want to go and be the first one to get your hands on it. You want to make sure that you've got that advantage before you try to move.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I really love about watching these teams play at this level is that they really understand that even if the shield is broken, that they should not necessarily just run in and grab the Rainmaker. There's a strategy there. They have to make sure that everybody's in a good position, that they do have the ability to continue forward. You know, you don't want to just grab it and immediately get splatted.
Early on right now, 4-3 advantage on the field for Team Upgrade. We'll even that out to 3-3 at this point here. FTWin trying to get the victory here on Rainmaker to join what in low-key Splatoon at PAX East. But right now, early advantage for FTWin. You see that Inkjet coming out as well too. And once again, it doesn't come out very often, but the people that can use it, 9, can create so much havoc.
And we saw last year exactly how strong that could be back when Inkjet was the preferred special. It's not, but you know, all that practice that people got with Inkjet doesn't just go away. Getting a max distance flat on a Stingray, that is a huge opportunity for them. And although we did see some solid defense there coming out, it still shows you the skill level of these players.
3-2 on the field, FTWin. They've got the 49-0 advantage right now, so a chance to sit back on defense, but I figure with this team, they're going to be very aggressive. Rainmaker up for grabs. They continue to push it, but Team Upgrade able to stop that. Team Upgrade now with the advantage on the field. Looking for one more splat here on Kyo, but Kyo doing a great job of staying alive. Rainmaker shield bursts it open, and that's going to be grabbed by Cotton at this point. But you're deep back in your own base.
They don't know Kyo was there.
Oh, he's just hiding back there.
And you mentioned how well you have to be sometimes to be aggressive, but also just hiding and waiting for your advantages can pay off really well here, 9.
Well, and they can sense the desperation too. That was a very early grab because of all of the aggression. Great double for Squirt there. One swing, 2 go down. But to my earlier point, they can sense the desperation right now. They understand that because they're putting so much pressure on, Team Upgrade doesn't want to leave the Rainmaker in that position. But Kyo has not left here in the last minute, getting doubles, easy stuff.
Kyo racking up the splats right now, having no issue keeping Team Upgrade pinned back in their own half of the map here. Team Upgrade trying to do all that they can to mount a comeback, but FTWin has got them on their heels. Inkstorm almost ready to go for 2D as well. That'll create some more havoc. Another splat for FTWin. And so not only do they have the Rainmaker back in Team Upgrade spot, they have a numbers advantage, and this is the chance where you look for the KO here, 9.
It is, and you know, great job by Lag giving them a chance, but there needs to be a lot more happening there. They are losing on a conceptual level. They're being outplayed. And right now you see Kyo is just, again, willing to sit back in this corner, understanding, look at all the time that we are taking right now. We have kept the Rainmaker here for the duration of the game, and now even more pressure coming out. Great job by Squirt, who is trying his darndest to at least give them a chance.
Team Upgrade not giving up, though, Ashley. They have a 3-2 lead. It seems like they took the brunt of the damage there. They reset the Rainmaker as well, too, so now you get it out of your own area, and this is a chance, as you mentioned, to kind of regather and regroup mentally, but time is ticking.
Time is definitely ticking. They've got just over a minute left, and they have a lot of work to do. So they are going to notice nobody's picked up the Rainmaker yet. They're still working on it. They're going to make sure that they've got as many FTWin members down before they pick up that Rainmaker.
4-3 on the field, 4 FTWin, 4-4 now. Team Upgrade needs to do something here, or else FTWin will take a 4-0 sweep and pack their brooms to PAX East, joining what in low-key Splatoon. Inkjet coming out by Cotton. Cotton trying to keep things at bay and also pave a little bit of a path. You've got to grab the Rainmaker at this point. FTWin almost going to blank Team Upgrade here. They can't even get up there and grab it yet here, 9, but then here comes all the pressure. And you've got 2 specials ready to go, 30 seconds left for FTWin. You figure this is in their grasp.
It is, and now this Inkjet from Shaq is going to slow them down, which is going to give them the opportunity to get their Stingray out. And again, that's just slowing them so much. Cotton needs to try to get up and help nerf NZAP. You see being chased down I think that they need to do a better job of getting up here. I hope the jumps have come in. That could be a big pick onto Kyo. But again, because that wasn't popped, they weren't going to be able to grab it. 4-0 wipe, blanked, swept, any adjective, any noun, any verb. There you go.
Ice with the snipe at the end on the inkjet as well, too. I mean, really, that was your last Hail Mary attempt right there for a comeback. And Ice putting that one, well, I hate to say it, on ice here. If you're looking at more analogies right there that make you groan, 9. But low-key Splatoon, what? They will be joined by FTWin at PAX East, so congratulations to them. But really, in the bigger picture here, we talked about how untouchable what might be coming into this. FTWin, it seems like pulling together some of these top players, they look like a legitimate threat to what at this point?
They are certainly a contender. I mean, this is the #2 seed. They know what they're doing. They are incredibly good at having that team synergy, understanding exactly where they need to be. And when you have Kyo on that front line, I mean, it's like having 2 players.
It is. And actually, I'm glad you mentioned that. There was
an extra man.
There was a moment in that game that will not go on the highlight sheet, but right after Team Upgrade had finally slowed down that all-game offensive, you saw that Kyo was still on the side. They put 3 people to go and try and chase down Kyo, and that meant that they couldn't push forward.
Yeah.
I mean, and
it takes away.
It does.
When you have somebody like Kyo out there, it takes away from your ability as a team to focus on the objective, because now this is your new objective. Like, you cannot allow this person to continue. Like, you have to go get them.
FTWin never really being disrupted in any of their matches as well, too. They were able to do what they wanted to do when they wanted to do it all match long. You look at some of their highlights in this 4-0 sweep of Team Upgrade, and it really goes to show you just some solid fundamental play here, 9. It wasn't anything that was lucky or something that was some, as you said earlier, some amazing highlight reel play. It was just solid play and maintaining your fundamentals.
And you saw Kyo there getting an easy double. Both of those opponents weren't even looking at him in that situation and understanding and anticipating where the opponent's going to try to go. And right there, Kyo actually opened that up. His baller got popped, you'll notice, by Squirt, and still managed to get a 1v1 victory over a Dynamo, which by all accounts should beat a Brush.
Well, that Ink Brush was able to get into the base so quickly. And then you also talk about the communication in real life, but also the subtle communication. Go ahead and hit that this way button and get everybody to jump in, join the party, and let them know that, hey, food's out, let's eat. And they certainly did. They get the 4-0 sweep, and it's going to be really exciting to see what they can do at PAX East, because that was as impressive as what we saw from early on.
Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to seeing players like Penget and Power go up against Kyo and Ice. I mean, this is like, that is so exciting to me. The idea of watching those teams potentially going head-to-head is like, oh, I can't wait to see.
Let's take another look at the matchups here so you can see what has transpired so far. As we said, 3 teams going to PAX East. You've got Low-Key Splatoon and FTWin. Our final matchup, Demise taking on Luminous Sea, will be just around the corner. We'll see who our 4th team will be to join our 3 others at PAX East. You're watching the Splatoon 2 North America Inkling Open 2019. We'll be right back after a short break.